Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Jada Toys Cyberpunk Edgerunners David. Now, I've heard from a lot of people that this guy is an excellent figure, and I've heard from some people that it's good, and I've heard from some people that it's too expensive, and I don't know, I'm kind of thinking they're probably all onto something, because he does come in at about 50 bucks. Is it justified? That's what we're going to find out. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figure, I do want to show you my package. Nice packaging. Jada has a way of doing an attractive package without making it too busy, too garish. Looks nice. I don't know if they're going to do any more characters. Maybe this guy, this one, and this one, and this one. Probably that one if I had to guess. We'll see, I guess, if these sell well. I don't know. But coincidentally, I just finished watching this show the other day, so it's fresh in my mind. Decent packaging. Let's move on. This guy is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. If you want to get him, I'll put a link in the description below. He stands, for his head, about 6 3/8, including the hair, about 6 5/8. That's going to make him roughly, let's say, 16.25 and then 17 centimeters. Here he is up against a Darwin. I'd say that's probably good scaling. This guy is not that big throughout most of the show, but he does get bigger at the end because of his synthetic body, and I think that's about right for 1/12 scale. Now, the question of the day, are you guys into this sort of thing? Soft goods at 1/12 scale at like a non-premium price, or what are you guys thinking about this? For me, I think it really just depends on the execution. I don't absolutely hate soft goods. I don't love them, and in this case, I think it makes sense, so We'll get to that as we go. But alright, let's get into the aesthetic on this guy. The first thing I have to say is for $50, I think they did a pretty good job with the soft goods. You've got the jacket and the pants, and then you've got a figure underneath that's actually pretty darn solid. Now, the problem I have is it's just not accurate enough. If everything they did was the same quality, just with a better likeness in the face and probably better accuracy in some of the details, I think 50 bucks is fully justified. But this is not what his face looks like in the anime. And I'll show you on the box. That's what he looks like on the box. That's what he looks like there. That's not the same face. It's similar, but it's not the same. And they didn't do a particularly good job of capturing the animation style from Studio Trigger. So that's a bit of a bummer for me. Now, it's not terrible, and if you didn't watch the show recently or don't care that much, it's not going to bother you that he's not super accurate, but it is something to note. And then there are details missing throughout the clothes and in his body and stuff. These are all synthetic panels and things, and it's just not quite right. So there's that. But otherwise, the soft goods jacket and the soft good pants are really well done. The figure is sculpted well. It's painted, it's got shading throughout. It is a matte finish for the most part, and you'll see him as we do the articulation a little bit more. And like I said, it's not executed poorly, it's just not super accurate. So if it was more accurate, it would be just aces. But what is there is still done pretty well, again, aside from the accuracy. So even at the $50 price point, I will give this guy, considering you get the soft goods and a full figure underneath that doesn't require the soft goods, I'll say 8 out of 10. It's pretty good, but for me the accuracy is a problem if you're asking that kind of money. I think it just needs to be a little bit more accurate, but you can decide if that affects you or not. But yeah, it's not bad looking. Alright, as for accessories, you get the normal head, then you get the angry head. I think the angry head is even less accurate, though if you want to say it's from when he's going into cyber psychosis, then it makes more sense. You do get some interchangeable hands, nothing crazy, just the 2 fists and the 2 other hands, and then you get his forearm gun, and that's fine, and it's done well enough. That's it. Like, it's not anything crazy, so I get the people who are saying it's too expensive for what you get. The soft goods, I think, got the price up there, so I don't know. Now, the thing is, and the reason I haven't given an accessory rating yet, is the soft goods come off, at least the jacket. You could take the pants off, I guess. I wouldn't say you need to do that, but you could. I don't know if, like, it feels sculpted under there, but I wouldn't take his pants off. But you could count the jacket as an accessory, so I'll still say, for the price point, 7 out of 10. Oh, wait, he's supposed to have a gun, too. Where's his gun? I dropped it. Alright, he also has a gun. And that's what the gun looks like there. So it's not the best looking gun, but there is some paint on it. So yeah, I'll stay with 7 out of 10. You could go 8 if you want to count the jacket. It's a reasonable spread, but it's nothing impressive. And if we're talking $50, that's a pretty high-end price point. Now, I know a lot of the high-end companies are charging even more than that for things, but I don't think they need to. So, all right, moving on to the articulation. It is your standard Jada style articulation, just like their Street Fighter figures. It's basically the same as one of those. But let's go ahead and do it with the jacket on, and we'll see if it interferes, and then the pants are going to stay on either way, because I'm not a weirdo. All right, so you have the double ball peg head, and then the neck is on a ball peg. That's the way you do it, folks. That's the way you do it. Look, he can look up. I'm so tired of hearing people say, oh, they can't look up if you don't do it the way Hasbro does it. No, they can look up and down just fine. Look at that. That's a really nice head and neck. It just goes wherever you want it to. That's really, really good. Is his jacket wired? I thought it was. But if it is, it's the thinnest wire ever. I think it has to be. Yeah, it is. There's definitely a wire in there. Alright, it's been a while since I got this guy. I haven't looked at him in a minute. Alright, so for the shoulders, we have your butterfly joint and your standard ball hinge. Let's see how it works with the jacket on. I think because the jacket's loose, it's not going to be super annoying to pose him. Like, it's going to be worse than not having the jacket on, but it should be fine. You should be okay. And it does have the short sleeves to make it look like the sleeves are rolled up, / they are just short and bunchy. Hard to say. But the arms still work pretty well, even the elbows through the jacket. Really no problem. Like I said, the soft goods are not poorly executed at all. Now, I do want to pop the jacket off for the rest of the articulation. It's not going to get in the way. I mean, it's not going to affect the torso anyway. And I want to show you the arms without the jacket on, just to make sure we're thorough. I don't know if you actually technically need to take the hands off, but it's probably easier, I'm guessing. Alright, so as we do this, you also get a look at the rest of the sculpting and paintwork that is nicely done. Again, plenty of details here. It really is just that accuracy gets a knock in the points department. Alright, so now that he has his shirt off, you can also see the plastics don't match perfectly. There's some differences here and there, and they have a weird look. The figure does, just like a lot of the Street Fighter figures where the butterfly joint meets the torso. It does make him look a little bit weird in the chest, especially since in the anime he's pretty dang bulky at this point. But the butterfly joint is pretty effective. It works pretty well. Shoulder is obviously perfectly functional. They're better than horizontal. Bicep swivel is going to be fine. Double jointed elbows, no problems. Alright, and then the wrists get your swivel and hinge. Happy to note that his gun hand does have the vertical hinge, as it should, so good on them for that. Torso joint moves around pretty well. Not the best forward, and well, it goes back pretty well. Not the best going forward, but it's probably enough. It works nicely. I can't really complain too much about that. And then there's a ball peg at the waist, which you really have to fight with to move, but it is in there, so that'll help. Oh man, help you get a couple extra millimeters of range out of there. Now the pants do like to hike up, and this plastic piece does as well. I don't know. I don't know if you are even meant to take his pants off. I know people. The reason I'm bringing it up is people like to ask, and he actually is pantsless in the show at some point. So I'm sure people were going to ask me that. I'm not going to try to take his pants off. I'm guessing you really could if you wanted to, but this waist is pretty narrow, and he's got legs, so that might be difficult. Anyway, let's talk about the range here in the legs. With the pants on, having them bunched up does help to some degree. You can get them to kick up to better than horizontal. That's pretty good. They go back just a little bit and then going out to the side. This piece is going to be a problem because it is very stiff plastic. It seems like a poor choice. I mean, I'm sure it was cheaper than this, but you already had this. You could have made it soft and then it wouldn't have been such a problem. But he does kick just fine. Can he do splits in his pants? He can. He does better splits in his pants than like all of the Spider-Man that Marvel Legends have released. Spider-Mans. Maybe not literally, but look at that. Pretty good range. You do get your thigh swivel in there. Double jointed knee works just fine. His skin will show if you're not careful, but you can probably get his pants back down there and make it so that his skin doesn't show. Now the one thing is, his pants are supposed to be tucked into his boots. And if you do it just right, it looks fine, but they're not technically tucked into the boots, so be aware of that. But good range there. You do get a shin swivel at the boot. And then the ankle goes all the way back and pretty dang far forward, and then you have an ankle rocker that's not too steep, but you can always just rotate the boot to make it work. So his articulation is solid. with one caveat. He's got a lot of loose joints. They're not super loose, but there are spots where they're pretty dang loose. So that's not great. But it does work pretty well, I have to say. I'll give the articulation a, yeah, it even works with the soft goods. I'm going to say 9 out of 10. He does pose nicely. Okay, and now it's time for the final verdict / closing thoughts. Yes, it is expensive. Is it too expensive? It's really hard to say if it's too expensive. I think it's too expensive for the likeness to be off, but otherwise, no. I think the $50 is perfectly reasonable for soft goods at this scale that function really well with a really good figure underneath and a decent spread of accessories. I don't think $50 is too much. So I'm going to give this guy a rating of, if he had a better likeness, this would be a 9 out of 10. But since the likeness bothers me, and it may not bother you, like, it's not terrible, so it may not bother a lot of people. You can decide for yourself. But I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 because the likeness is not quite there, and there are some details that aren't quite right. But this is still a really, really good figure, especially at the, well, it's not a great price point, but at $50, it's pretty darn reasonable. I mean, heck, you could be spending $50 to get just another Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure with a couple extra accessories and birthing hips. So you can decide for yourself, but that's what I have to say about it. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But that's it from me, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.